Welcome to Q&A with S&A. Andrea here and
Shane.
Yeah, as always. And today we have a really special guest with us, Julie Pidgeon, who is one of our best friends in the world, and she has agreed very, very reluctantly to come and talk to us on our podcast today. So thank you, Julie.
Thank you both.
I'm going to let you tell us about Julie, the bits that you want us to know, and then we'll delve into all the things you don't want us to know, and we'll talk about those things anyway. So go ahead, tell us all about Julie and why you're here.
Wow, where to start? Well, I'll start with we've known each other for, I think it's about 17 years now. We first crossed paths in a business I was working with accounting firms, doing coaching and events around Australia and overseas. And it's been a wild ride since then.
We used to get drunk together.
We did, with lots of rowdy accountants.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, definitely been a wild ride since then. Living in lots of different countries and doing things like that. Own my own business for a while. Working in marketing communications and now more the business development and projects and things like that.
Yeah. So for the people listening at home, Julie is currently working with us as our governance manager. So Julie is the one who always has the big whip out to make sure that we're doing all the things that we're supposed to do.
I don't be giving her a bad rap. That sounds like
I don't know if that's the appropriate visual. But.
Correct.
Well, it's kind of appropriate. You and I have a funny conversation all the time about the fact that we have fallen into the accounting industry because neither of us are accountants. So what is your background and how did you end up here with accountants?
My very first job actually when I left school was as a receptionist in an accounting firm in a small country town. So I guess that started the journey and came back into that business.
You went back.
17 years ago. I went to lawyers after that and didn't have an as enjoyable time. So lots of different jobs in between, but came back to that particular business and really enjoyed working with the accountants in that coaching environment. And seeing some of the great work they were doing. And I guess that's my first exposure. Then when I started my own business doing marketing and communications, working with them through the contacts I had made in that business, branching out into financial planners as well. So that was really interesting. And then I went into the banking sector for a little while and
you sucker for punishment.
I know, right?
Lawyers, accountants, financial planners and now banks.
Exactly. And then I went even further down the dial and went to work for local government, local council, which that was an interesting experience as well. But very happy through our friendship to reunite with you guys and get back into it. And having worked with hundreds of accounting firms, you guys are absolutely the best. And I said to Andrea this morning, definitely spoiled me for working with other accounting firms.
We were talking about Julie learning a new skill today because there was something in particular that we'd been talking about in the business. And I said, you can go out and offer this to other accounting firms. And she just looked at me with this face that said, there's no way I'm going to go and work for other accounting firms. She will, though. So other accounting firms out there, Julie has some very, very special skills that she would love to share with you, I'm sure. Look out for her website.
Absolutely.
Coming soon.
I
don't want to talk about the, boring office jobs that you've had. Tell us about your time overseas and the things that you got up to before you became a serious adult and had bills to pay.
Sure. So my first working experience overseas was at a summer camp in America, which was a really great experience. I was lucky enough to work at a camp where Disney filmed a documentary called Bug Juice. A long time ago.
Yeah.
So I got to work behind the scenes with the production team and so that was a really great experience. Then I went to England and worked in a very large energy company and in HR, which I'd never done before. So that was really interesting, and worked, they had about 1,000 employees across 4 different locations, and started in HR, worked my way into training and then up to training manager. So I was doing all the induction training for all the employees, which was, very, very interesting. And, where I met one of my best friends who was in the recruitment agency, and had a really good time. I was over there for about 4 years before I came back,
Yep. And, Julie, you work almost 100% remotely for Aintree Group, because that is the world that we live in right now. And you live on the top of a mountain in a beautiful place in Queensland. What is it like to be, like, we do have other remote employees, but not people who live in other states. You're the only one that we've got. So what is that like? How do you balance that with life? Because you said you're here at the moment for a couple of weeks because you come down and spend a couple of weeks with us, and you get a sore throat at the end of the day because you're not used to talking to people a lot. So what are the other things you have to contend with?
Yes. Well, first of all, I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to be able to work from home despite the persistent encouragement to move to Melbourne, which may be on the cards if the weather continues the way it does. But, I really like to have both options. I love being in the office. It's such a great team, and it does give me lots of energy being in the office with the team, and everything that we get up to, doing the training and things that I do with the team. So that's really great, and I think it's really important to have those periods to develop the relationships, which is great. But, it's great being able to work from home. In my particular role, I do need a lot of focus time to develop procedures and have a look at what's going on. And so not having interruptions is really helpful.
Yeah.
I only work 4 days a week, so it's really good to have that super productive time with no interruptions and disruptions apart from wildlife or my landlord that likes to mow and slash every second day when I'm trying to get on calls. But no, and I have worked quite a lot for myself, obviously, so I'm quite disciplined. I like working on my own, but yes, I do get a very sore throat after coming down here and doing lots of talking when I'm in the office. But I'm really lucky to be able to have that opportunity to be able to do that. So I really value it, and it's definitely one of the benefits.
Now, we're friends, and I don't like saying you work for us, but how do you find working with working for/with friends?
I think it's really good. I really value, I think any job I've always done, I've always approached it as if it's my own business. And I put a lot of myself, and I truly care about having a great result and doing a good thing. So that sort of factors into it, I guess. I really value the level of trust, which I think gives me another aspect to my role in being able to do what I do, because I know that you trust me to do those things, and I probably can do more than I normally would if we didn't have that friendship. I also value, being a really, I think it gives it a whole different aspect and level to what I can and can't do with that level of trust and level of honesty in being able to, really dive into some things that you probably wouldn't if that relationship wasn't there. Plus the fact that I stay with you guys when I come down here. So it's going from living on my own on top of a mountain to full-on crazy 24/7.
Dogs
and
dinners and drinking at Equa.
Exactly. All the crazy stuff. So I really enjoy that. And we pretty much live it 24/7 when I'm here, which is probably different again to a normal just employee relationship. But I think having known you guys for so long and see how far you've progressed and how you operate, and for me it's given me a whole level of respect and inspiration and admiration for what you guys do and how you run the business and run the team in terms of all the things you've achieved. And I think as a friend, I'm really proud of you guys for what you've done, and I'm really proud and grateful to be a part of that.
Thank you. You're still not going to be able to ask us questions here, so it doesn't. She's trying to butter us up so she can ask us questions. So, speaking of life being crazy and busy and drinking and going out and having fun, what's your favourite place in the world, Jules?
My favourite place in the world, besides being with you two, being with you two in Las Vegas is one of my favourite places.
How many times have you been?
14.
That is insane. That is literally insane.
Yeah.
When was the last time?
Before COVID.
So
it's been a while.
Yeah, do another trip.
Which is why she said that, because she's like, being with you two in Vegas. She's trying to hint that maybe Vegas.
Well, I was very lucky that you two both came to my 40th in Vegas not long
just
ago.
a few years ago.
Yeah. Super fun. Yeah. What's your favourite thing about Vegas? Tell us partly as well the reason why you go to Vegas.
I think for me it is a very over-the-top place, and you feel like you're a celebrity when you're there. It's just crazy. But the main reason, there's two reasons now. It just feels like home. So I like going back because it's familiar and I have my favourite places. But and it's also the place where I meet my bestie from the UK. We meet up there, so it's a good halfway point. But also it's just the place where you can do so many things, from relaxing by the pool to partying as long as you want to the shopping, the food, the shows, really good quality shows and concerts and things like that. So you don't have to travel too far to do a lot of things in the one place. So, it will always be a special place.
And what's your favourite? We'll put a plug in here to see whether we can get some free something. What's your favourite hotel in Vegas?
My favourite hotel... Oh, that's too hard.
Just pick one, the most expensive one, to see if we can get a free ticket or something.
You've got a better chance naming
I've
all of
always
them.
liked the Bellagio and have never stayed there.
Where are the places that you stay?
I stayed at Treasure Island. I've stayed at Planet Hollywood. Wynn was quite nice. I wouldn't mind going back to Wynn.
Wynn, if you're listening.
Yes, and obviously visited you when you were staying at the Venetian, which was lovely too.
Yeah, it's a fun place. It is one of those crazy places where you can literally do whatever you want. And when we went there the first time, we took the kids with us, and they were walking around the casino going, "This is wild!" They were 8 and 5 or something.
Walking through the gaming
area of the casinos. It's just not. It's
a different world.
From here, from Australia, it's just not something that we're used to. So
I would love to go back with the kids now.
Completely different way. Maybe wait until Emily's 21 so that we don't.
Exactly.
I'm going to go away from the glitz and back to remote working and working from home on your own.
Yeah.
I would struggle with that personally. Mm-hmm. I would be the opposite and loose focus, because if I'm looking out at the outlook that you have, I'd be saying, what am I doing this for? And also the weather in Queensland. Yeah. So how do you stay focused?
Good question. I don't have my office where the view is, for starters. I don't know. I'm just very disciplined, I think. I'm super organised. Just ran a session for the team yesterday on time management and staying focused on the outcomes and time blocking and things like that. So I think that's something that I've mastered over time. This is my start time. This is what I've got to achieve today, and just get in and do it. And being in Queensland, I do 8 till 4 to match your time. Mm-hmm. So
they'll eventually have daylight savings at some point in the 21st century. Yeah.
Hopefully Julie will have moved to Melbourne by then. So.
But I also plan things in the afternoon that I can look forward to doing. So I'm very much a incentive person. So crack on, get my work done, and look forward to doing some things in the afternoon.
And then you switch off? You do switch off?
I absolutely switch off. Yeah, I have an office, so I close the door and leave it there. And you guys are great. I don't get any calls or emails that I look at after work hours, which is awesome. So it does let me do that. But I also really enjoy what I do. So it's not a chore to sit down, and I'm super busy with lots of things to do. So I never run out of work. So there's no twiddling my thumbs and being bored. I think I would struggle if there wasn't a lot of work to do. But because I've got so much to do and there's always things coming in and lots of things that we're learning and changing, so it keeps it interesting. So, yeah, I don't struggle with that at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I really respect that about you too, Julie, that we do have really clear boundaries about what is work time and what is not necessarily when you're here, because we try and take advantage of that, or we're sitting around the dinner table, so it's a bit easier to talk about work. But I love the fact that when you're finished for the day, you literally turn your out of office message on and you say, I'm not available now, and your little Teams logo goes to unavailable and that sort of stuff. And it's just really good. It's a good way to be for the team as well, because we've been talking to the team about the fact that when you're not at work, it's really important for your mental health to actually not be at work, and not just to be like, oh, I'm going to check my emails out of, in my own time or anything like that. I'm going to really focus and be planned around that. And I love that, because it means that it holds me accountable too, because I don't necessarily switch off like I should, but that's life. But I love the fact that if I send you a message after hours, I know absolutely that you are not going to respond to it unless I say the house is burning down and I really need you. But that is a really good thing. And I think that's probably hard if you're like friends and family working together. So it's really important to set those boundaries and know that there's a switch off.
Yes. Is Andrea sending me a funny meme, or is it a work-related?
Well, that's the thing. We've got various levels of communication, and then our business communication is done through that. And our, what would you like to, have a latte martini is a different conversation.
Exactly.
And I think that's really important.
Yes.
That's a family thing as well. Like Shane and I don't necessarily have the boundaries that we should about where you draw the line.
Yeah.
But it's really good that we have that with you.
And I think that's come from working with three actually. My last 3 roles have been in organisations where I've done crazy hours and I've burnt out, and have learnt my lesson from that, that working longer hours, being available longer hours is not good for your health and well-being.
Yeah.
So I've had to put those boundaries in place, having gone through a few health challenges. And I actually really appreciate and honestly don't mind when I get the odd message, because I've been at the opposite end, and it's just so damaging to your health.
Yeah. You also have an interest outside of your very, very official governance and stuff in wellness. It's not so much a focus of what you talk about anymore because you're so busy with us, sorry. But tell us a bit about that, like the stuff that you do that, because you have interests in things to do with mental health and wellness, and so your approach to things is based around that. So
yeah, definitely. Well, I think one of my roles I had in between the accounting firms was working with a counselling education provider. So I've studied counselling and I've also studied life coaching. I've always been interested in psychology and human behaviour, and that's probably what I like looking at outside of work in terms of learning new things. And I've done lots of different training in different areas, NLP and things like that. So very focused. I've been through a few things in my own life where I've had to sort of look at what's going on and what's happened. So I think when you have that ability to really look at yourself and have that self-awareness, it causes you to have a look at some of those things in terms of mental health and physical health as well, and recognising that I have had roles that have been quite toxic and have had a heavy load, and you get to the point where you have to make some sort of changes. So I've really enjoyed learning about different approaches and ways of dealing with things, particularly around mindset, and love sharing that with the team. We do a lot of training and personal and professional development at Aintree Group, which is great, and I've really enjoyed delivering sessions that challenge the team to look at things differently and come at things from a different perspective. Having been through a lot of therapy myself, I've learnt a lot that way as well. And, yeah, just really interested in why people do things they do and why I do things the way I do and how I can do better and, yeah, have a more fulfilling life through those types of things. Yeah.
What specific things do you do to switch off? So you've said you shut your door to your office and you turn off your laptop and whatever else. What are the things that you would always do every week that help you with your wellness?
I think definitely with the time blocking that we talked about, my personal calendar, I include things that I have to cover, otherwise I won't do them. So things like just quiet time, and I'm lucky where I live, it is absolutely quiet. I don't have any distractions. So often when I physically close the door and my laptop is in there and I don't have any of, well, I do have the work apps on my phone, but there's no notifications turned on. So I choose when I look at them. So, and I try to have at least one day per week where I don't look at my devices at all. So it's normally a Sunday. But yeah, I physically close the door. I don't look at my computer and I just sit quietly for a while to decompress or go for a walk and those things I have to schedule in to make sure that I do them until they become habits. And, yeah, just try and do things that are completely different. I've recently taken up watercolour. So I like to do something where I've had a heavy mental load for the day. I like to do something that's a bit more creative to just have that bit of a switch. And, yeah, just make sure that I focus on some of the things that I was looking forward to doing at the end of the day, whether that be catching up with friends or FaceTiming family or things like that as well. But I think it's just, setting that boundary and having the discipline to just stick to it, because I know the benefits of switching off and refreshing, so I'm good for the next day.
We've been talking to the team a lot lately about, as you said, time management and time blocking and that sort of stuff. And we, at the end of last year, started to talk to a few of them about what the future of work looked like for them as well as for the firm, because lots of big companies are switching to all remote or 4-day weeks and stuff like that. And as part of those conversations, it's as you said, a really big mindset shift about how you can manage your own time to do better about that sort of thing. And your challenging of people's mindsets has helped us challenge those mindsets as well, because the accounting industry is very, very fixed. There's timesheets, there's 6-minute intervals, there's 37.5-hour weeks. There's, everyone's got to account for their time and stuff like that. And, it can be stressful if you don't disconnect from it all. And I think we wouldn't have been able to have those conversations with our team if it wasn't for the fact that we had someone sitting there who had, that sort of wellness and counselling sort of experience, because you come to it and you say, that burnout is real.
Yeah.
And people do. We are really lucky to have a team around us who put in 150%. They come to work and they give everything that they've got while they're at work. And we're now talking to them about the fact that that's great, but when you switch off from work, you have to be able to switch off. And that's hard, isn't it?
It is.
People are really reluctant to switch off.
Yes.
And I have had to stop sending messages in the evening and stuff, because people will respond to me. I'm like, please don't respond. I feel like,
schedule them for the next day.
Yeah.
That's
and that's the thing. All the software that we're starting to use and things that we're learning, you and I are learning along the way about how to manage all of this stuff to get it out of your inbox and into a schedule or something like that. And it's, we had a conversation the other day about the fact that even 6 months ago, some of the stuff we can do now from a software perspective, we wouldn't have even thought about then.
Yeah.
how do you keep up with all of that stuff? And don't say, I get emails from you all the time and you tell me what I've got to look at. There are other ways. You will always come to me and to Shane with things as well. What do you do for your own professional development outside of?
Most of it, well, not most of it, some of it does come from you, and I'm really grateful for that, because I'm not someone who watches the news, and I'm very careful with the information I curate that I look at for mental health reasons. LinkedIn is always a good source, so I spend a little bit of time on there just to see mostly what different colleagues and contacts are doing. But social media, again, I tend to, rather than get lots of emails, I don't subscribe to a lot of places, but I do follow a lot of pages. So that's probably where I get most of my information. Again, I curate my social media to not have a lot of garbage on there, and it is mostly whatever my interests are at the moment. It's all around AI and automation and how we can work smarter. So most of the pages I follow are around that, so the information gets delivered to me in that way, because I am a bit lazy in terms of, and I don't have a lot of time to read. We were talking yesterday about my reading folder in my inbox that I diligently put things in and just never get around to. So I prefer it, I think, to get it from those sort of sources. And I do value friends that send me things because they know what I'm interested in, and obviously Big Brother is watching, because out of conversations we've had over the last few days, all these courses are popping up in something I said I wanted to learn more about. So
yeah, I think our watchers must be listening to us.
Absolutely.
That was a weird one last night.
Absolutely. But I think it's too, you've got such a great network as well. So you are already connected to people who are in this industry and are focused, and, you know, we go out and go to conferences and hear people talk about, you know, what the latest trends and things are. So I think it's really important to get out of your bubble and go and expose yourself to different people and build those contacts, because that's where the quality information comes from. Because, there's lots of stuff and courses out there that's not necessarily great stuff.
Yeah, there was lots of stuff.
So I'm grateful that you send me stuff. Not so much at 2 a.m, but rest assured I won't be reading it then.
Definitely do not read the 2 a.m. stuff. What is next for Julie? Because you there is no way I want you to work for an accounting firm for the rest of your working life.
Are you giving a hint there?
No, absolutely not. I'm saying, you know, I fully expect to be hosting a watercolor exhibition of yours soon. But, you know, in terms of that, like the project that you have completed for us, it has an end point really, because there's, you know, it is a governance project, and not the governance stops at a certain point, but at a certain point you realise that now all I have to do is keep up. I don't have to completely recreate or create something. And you can't possibly want to work for an accountant for the rest of your life, because that would just not, no. So what's next? What do you still aspire to do? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go on like a year-long cruise somewhere, or, you know?
That sounds really nice. I don't know. I haven't really thought a lot about it. I'm definitely interested in being a systems process, procedures-driven person. I'm really fascinated by AI and where that is going, and have had a lot of experience in thinking about different ways of doing things. So I guess it's applying that to emerging technology.
Yeah.
I've always sort of, whatever role I've been in, it's business development in some way, shape or form. So I'm sure that will continue. But I'm not really sure. I haven't really thought of that far ahead.
I think it's probably something that we've talked about for a long time, and the fact that what we value most in people is curiosity. And I think that's one of the things that we value most in you, is that we will throw an idea at you and you don't say, but we normally do it this way, or we've done it this way for a long time, or I'm not really sure, I want to find out about that. It's like, throw an idea at Julie and she will come up with 10 ways of doing things, because curiosity is something that's really important. And that's probably a word that we've always valued but not necessarily said a lot. And we do say it a lot now, because it's part of what we do as our values and vision, which came from you as well. So on that note, I'm going to put you out of your misery of talking to us on the podcast, and thank you for everything that you have done for us.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
really enjoyed this. It's no puns came into it.
I know these guys.
We do
They
lots
spend
of
their
puns.
entire 2 weeks of Julie being down punning at each other, and I am not a pun person, so they're like puns flying around everywhere,
but
and
none-
I'm sitting
none
there
in this
rolling
session.
my
None in
eyes.
this
But
session,
not
no.
a single pun here.
No.
What is going on?
I know. We'll have to lift our game.
We
It's
will.
been pun. Does that quite work?
Okay, there we
Probably
go.
not. No, all right. I think that's the end of it. Yeah.
It's been so good to talk to you, Julie.
You
Thank
too.
you
Thanks for
for
having
spending
me.
time with us today, and thank you for listening to Q&A with S&A.
Thank